time showing her diamonds. She can't even afford the box they come in. My mother's voice sliced through the air like glass. The boutique went quiet. Even the soft instrumental music seemed to stop. I stood there in the middle of Sterling and Rowe Fine Jewelers, pretending the words didn't land. But they did. Every single one. Before we begin, drop a comment and tell us where are you from and from which city you're watching our videos? And after watching the whole video, don't forget to tell us what would you do in this situation? Be honest, tell me in the comments below. We read every comment. Let's begin. The young sales clerk blinked, unsure whether to laugh or apologize. My mother's smirk gave her the answer. You can show me the new arrivals, she said smoothly, her pearls catching the light. My daughter's just tagging along. I'd heard her tone before, the kind that dripped with fake charm while poisoning everything around it. The kind that made me feel 14 again, not 28. My throat tightened, but I forced a calm smile. Actually, I said, my voice steady, I came here for something specific. My mother gave a dry laugh. What, a catalog? I ignored her and turned to the clerk. Ava Carter. I placed an order last month. It should have arrived this week. Before the poor clerk could respond, the boutique manager appeared, sharp suit, confident stride, the kind of man who carried authority in his silence. He stopped when he saw me. His face lit up. Ms. Carter, he said warmly, we've been waiting for you. Your custom diamond line from Paris just arrived this morning. Come with me. We've set up a private room for your inspection. For a moment, nobody moved. My mother's lips parted slightly, her smile freezing mid-curve. Excuse me, she said. There must be some mistake. The manager shook his head. None, ma'am. Ms. Carter is one of our private clients. Her designs are exclusive to the Laurent collection. The clerk's jaw dropped. A few customers nearby turned to look at me, their curiosity sharp as camera flashes. I looked at my mother, her confidence unraveling in slow motion. For years, she'd told everyone I'd thrown my life away chasing art. She'd laughed when I sold sketches online, said real success came from marrying it, not earning it. Now she stood in the very place she'd mocked me, surrounded by jewels I had designed. I followed the manager into the private room, heart pounding not from pride, but from something deeper, release. Inside, the table shimmered with pieces that had once lived only in my sketchbook, delicate curves, hand-cut stones, and the small engraved signature, AC. The manager smiled. They're exquisite. Laurent was right to call you a prodigy. For a second, I couldn't speak. My hands trembled as I touched the necklace I'd spent months perfecting. My mother appeared in the doorway, pale and silent. I met her eyes. You were right, Mom. I can't afford to buy these, I said softly. But I can design them. The silence that followed sparkled louder than every diamond in the room. The sound of heels clicking against marble followed me out of the boutique. My mother's voice trailed close behind, low, sharp, and furious. Ava, what was that stunt supposed to prove? I didn't answer right away. The automatic door slid open, and the Manhattan air rushed in, cool and alive. For the first time in years, I didn't feel small walking beside her. I felt seen. I turned to face her under the streetlight. It wasn't a stunt, Mom. That's my career. Her lips pressed into a hard line. Since when do you have a career? She snapped. You're telling me those jewels, those ridiculous prices, are because of you? Yes, I said. Every sketch, every design, every sleepless night you called a waste of time. Her face reddened, and I could see it, the battle between pride and disbelief. You should have told me. I laughed, softly but bitterly. You wouldn't have listened. You never do unless there's a price tag attached. She opened her mouth, but I kept talking. Years of silence finally broke free. Do you know how many times I almost quit? How many days I worked double shifts at the diner just to pay for materials? And when I called you, hoping you'd say something like, I'm proud of you, you said. That you were being unrealistic, she interrupted, her tone brittle. Exactly. My voice trembled, but I didn't hide it. You never believed in me until it benefited you. Her expression faltered for just a second. Guilt, maybe. But she looked away, hiding it behind that same old mask. Ava, I wanted you to be secure. To have stability. No, I said, stepping closer. You wanted me to live your version of stability. Marry rich, stay silent, smile at parties. You never cared what actually made me happy. The traffic light turned green, painting her face in a strange hue, half envy, half realization. You sound just like your father, she muttered, always blaming someone else. That name was a punch to the chest. Dad believed in me, I said quietly. He supported my art until the day he died. You erased that part of him because it didn't fit your perfect picture. Her jaw tightened. She didn't respond. For once, words failed her. I took a slow breath and started walking toward the curb. You know, Mom, for years, I thought success would make you love me differently. But it won't. And that's okay now. She followed, her heels clicking faster. Ava, wait. Don't walk away like this. I'm not walking away, I said, turning back to her. I'm walking forward. Her face fell. Maybe for the first time, she saw me not as her daughter, but as a woman who no longer needed her permission to shine. Before I got into my car, she called after me one last time. Ava, everyone was staring at me in there. You humiliated me. I paused at the door, hand on the handle, and met her eyes. Now you know what it feels like. The city swallowed her silence. As I drove off, tears blurred the skyline. Not of sadness, but release. The weight I'd carried for years finally lifted, piece by piece, like broken glass swept from a floor. In the rearview mirror, the jewelry store lights glowed behind me, sparkling like a reminder. Sometimes, the most beautiful revenge isn't revenge at all. It's rising where they said you couldn't. And I wasn't done rising yet. 2 months later, I stood in front of a floor-to-ceiling window overlooking the Paris skyline, my reflection caught between sunrise and city lights. The Eiffel Tower glimmered faintly in the distance, and behind me, the showroom buzzed with excitement. It still felt unreal. My debut collection, Lumiere by Ava Carter, was about to launch at Lauren's annual fashion gala. My sketches, once mocked as scribbles, were now displayed under glass, surrounded by reporters, stylists, and collectors from across Europe. But what none of them knew was that behind every diamond, there was a memory of struggle. As I adjusted the clasp of a necklace, one I designed after my father's death, I heard my assistant, Mia, rush in with wide eyes. Ava, you won't believe who just RSVP'd late to the gala. I smiled faintly. Let me guess, another critic? She shook her head, holding out a card. Linda Carter, your mother. My heart stopped for half a beat. What? She called the main office, Mia said cautiously. Said she's flying in tonight. Apparently, she told the staff she's your manager. I let out a slow breath, my pulse tightening. I shouldn't have been surprised. For someone who spent years downplaying my success, my mother had an uncanny ability to show up the moment it shone too bright to ignore. That evening, the gala hall glimmered like a dream. Cameras flashed. The air was heavy with perfume and money. And yet, I felt grounded, not like the girl who used to shrink beside her mother, but like the woman who had finally built something that couldn't be taken away. Then she appeared. Linda Carter entered the room draped in a gown that screamed old money, emerald silk, diamond earrings that didn't quite match her expression. Her eyes scanned the crowd until they found me. For a moment, neither of us moved. Then she smiled that polished smile I'd grown up dreading. Ava, she said, reaching out, you look stunning. The papers are calling you the next big thing in luxury design. I suppose I should start saying, I always knew you would make it. I looked at her hand, then at her. Funny, I said calmly. You once said my designs would end up at flea markets. Her smile didn't waver, but her eyes did. I was wrong, she said quickly, lowering her tone. We all make mistakes. But tonight isn't the time for grudges. Everyone here knows we're family. Let's just act like it. Her words hit harder than she realized. Act like it. That had been her mantra my whole life. Act happy, Act perfect. Act successful. Never be real. I straightened. I don't need to act anymore, Mom. Before she could respond, the announcer's voice echoed through the hall. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ava Carter, designer of this year's exclusive Lumiere collection. Applause erupted. Flashbulbs exploded. My name filled the room, louder than her judgment ever had. I walked up to the stage, heart pounding in rhythm with the applause. From up there, I saw her, standing still, tears glimmering just under the surface of her pride. When I spoke, I didn't look away. This collection is dedicated to anyone who has ever told they weren't enough. Sometimes, the people closest to us can't see our light until it blinds them. Gasps, then silence. Cameras zoomed in, and my mother lowered her gaze. For the first time, I saw understanding, not defeat but recognition. The applause that followed wasn't just for the jewels. It was for survival. And I had never sparkled brighter. When the applause finally faded, I stepped off the stage and let the lights dim behind me. My hands were trembling, not from nerves, but from something heavier, something real. It wasn't pride. It was freedom. The night had gone perfectly. The collection sold out within minutes. Critics called it emotion wrapped in crystal, and Laurent himself had toasted me with a glass of champagne, calling me the future of modern elegance. Yet as the cameras turned away, I noticed her, my mother, standing near the far edge of the ballroom, away from the crowd, her expression unreadable. The same woman who once told a stranger I'd never amount to anything now looked lost in a room celebrating my success. Mia approached, grinning ear to ear. Ava, you did it. Laurent's team already wants a second collection. That's incredible, I said, smiling faintly. Can you excuse me for a minute? She nodded, and I crossed the marble floor slowly, every step echoing louder than the music. My mother turned when she saw me coming. For the first time in my life, she didn't look ready to argue. Her voice was soft, almost fragile. You were amazing up there. Thank you, I said quietly. She hesitated. I shouldn't have said those things at the store. Or before that. I was harsh. I thought I was protecting you. I folded my arms, not in anger, but to keep from shaking.
No, Mom.
You were protecting yourself from being embarrassed by a daughter who didn't fit your idea of success. Her eyes glistened. Maybe you're right. I was scared. Your father believed in you, but I couldn't see what he saw. I just didn't want to lose control of everything after he passed. You lost control the moment you tried to cage what wasn't yours, I replied softly. You didn't lose me because I failed, Mom. You lost me because I stopped needing your approval. The words hung between us like smoke, slow, unrelenting, impossible to avoid. She swallowed hard. I don't know how to fix this. You don't have to, I said. Just don't tear me down anymore. Silence. Then, in a whisper almost too quiet to hear, she said, I'm proud of you. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't an apology worthy of years of hurt, but it was the first time she'd ever said it, and part of me, the part that still remembered sitting on the floor sketching by lamplight, finally exhaled. I smiled faintly. That's all I ever wanted to hear. For a while, we just stood there. No more pretending. No more acting. Just two women, one learning how to let go, the other learning how to love from a distance. The gala slowly wound down, guests filtering out into the Paris night. I slipped onto the balcony overlooking the Seine, the city lights glittering like the diamonds that had changed everything. Mia joined me, holding 2 glasses of champagne. To your first collection, she said, clinking mine. I smiled. And to the last time I ever let anyone make me feel small. She laughed softly. That's the Ava I know. I looked out at the city, the river shimmering below, the hum of music fading in the distance, and for the first time, I didn't feel the ache to prove anything. I'd already done it. When I returned home to New York a week later, there was a letter waiting for me. No return address, just my name in elegant handwriting. I opened it carefully. Inside was a simple card. For every diamond you create, remember, you're the rarest one of all. Love, Mom. A single tear rolled down my cheek. Maybe she was changing. Maybe not. But it didn't matter. I'd already learned the most valuable lesson, that some people will never see your worth until the world does first. That night, I locked my studio, dimmed the lights, and stared at the sketches pinned across the wall. Each one was a piece of my past. Rejection, struggle, resilience, turned into beauty. I whispered to myself, "You did it, Ava. You did it without them." And somewhere deep inside, it finally felt true. Outside, New York glittered like Paris had, not because of the lights, but because I could finally see my own reflection in them. Not as someone's daughter. Not as someone's disappointment. Just me. A designer. A survivor. A woman who learned that sometimes the best revenge is simply becoming everything they said you couldn't be. As I walked to the window, the moon caught the edge of one of my newest designs, a ring shaped like a teardrop of light. I slipped it on, smiled, and whispered, "This one's for me." The world outside